Howdy.
Hey, yeah, it's been a couple of weeks, huh?
Yeah, you've been real busy.
Well,
We just passed through Black Friday.
we did. And actually, I just posted the pre-Black Friday podcast
Gotcha.
like 2 days ago,
Gotcha.
which was like a week and a half after. So I felt kind of dumb doing that, but I thought, hey, maybe people will want to know.
Yeah.
And again, I'm falling back on, we don't have that many listeners yet. And the ones that we have been very forgiving. Actually, a lot of good positive feedback.
Well, good.
So,
Glad to hear that.
for the listeners, welcome to Heeltoe Corner Club.
Howdy.
We are Marcus from Heeltoe Automotive, Graham from Minute Rice Channel.
Yep.
This is just a podcast a lot about my exploits
Yeah.
at Heeltoe, but then also some Q&A every once in a while, some technical stuff every once in a while.
Yeah, and current affairs too.
Current affairs, I guess, they definitely come into play. Just sort of like, I guess if you're a fan of Heeltoe, you may actually be a fan of this recording as well. So
Yeah, let's hope.
welcome.
So what's on the docket?
Well, given that the last one that we posted was about Black Friday, and we've got the that other technical one to post in between.
Sure.
But this one, I guess we should just sort of like recap a little bit of Black Friday.
Sure.
And had somebody specifically ask for a suspension topic, how to pick a suspension.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got a couple things to say about that. Probably not going to get super in depth.
Yeah, because that's one that you could do hours of discussion on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are certainly some bullet points, and it's probably going to go back to one of the things that we pretty much always say. But
Yep.
there's that. Somebody asked for, what's the Heeltoe origin story? I'm like, well, you know what? I am not. That's a lot. We have a super truncated version that we could do about that.
Yeah.
If you're relatively new, I guess we'll kick it off with
Sure.
that, right? So, Heeltoe Automotive, I started as a company mostly as just an exercise. I'm a car dude. I'm into my Hondas, playing with my car. I've come to find out, just like many of you have, that this is an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
And so I coincidentally, there was an intersection, and that's what I mean by coincidence, right? An intersection of my work experience, my capability at the time as a budding mechanical person, and the opportunity to have some wholesale accounts open up, just sort of fell into buying and selling parts.
Now, did it just kind of start out of your garage, like
Yes.
the classic story?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
I first worked out of an armoire and a closet.
Okay.
Armoire was for the office. Closet was for the product.
Okay.
It literally was,
Just a little snack.
and it wasn't even in the whole closet. It was just part of a closet.
Crazy. And now you have a whole commercial building, and you use a good portion of your house too.
The house we are no longer
Really?
using to that extent.
Well,
There's
congratulations.
An office there. If the IRS is listening, I do still use my house and charge some rent there. But
And thanks for tuning in.
yeah, and thank you. I didn't know that we would reach the IRS
Yeah.
like in episode less than 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, with the purchase of this building that we're in, I was able to move all of it out of my house.
Good. Because
So I don't even work at home. I work at home on the laptop, on the sofa, fill-in time.
Yeah. Well, I know for a while there, your garage was like really kind of split duty. There were like stacks of boxes that had just come in, and there was some stuff that was going out. And
Yeah.
it's mixed with all of your personal projects and cars. And yeah, when we first met, it was a little hectic at times.
Yeah, I guess that was before
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so trying to film anything in there, it's like there was no room, and and actually, not to totally get off the origin topic. I mean, that's all I really need to say about it right now.
Sure.
Just a hobbyist, but I have experience working at a Honda dealer in the service and in the parts department. I kind of came up with the internet's popularity through the 90s, We had a computer all the way back in the 80s, so I could use a computer really well. And when it came time to start selling product, I was very well acclimated to the message forum and how to manipulate the internet. Browsers were new for a lot of people, but as forums grew, my business sort of grew into that. And, I guess one thing just sort of leads to another. And if you're doing the bare minimum good job at a business, you're always growing.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're doing a mediocre job, you will stay level or go down over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what kind of parts did you originally start with?
JDM parts.
Okay.
Yeah, we started out at the onset of the JDM boom.
Okay. That's a good time to be in the car market.
When I first got into Honda cars and cars in general, JDM wasn't a word. It wasn't a thing.
Not in common usage.
No, all through the 90s, it was something that only like the most elite of people were messing with. But through the 2000s, it became very popular, and we were able to kind of get on that. I had an opportunity to buy some parts from Japan that were not available here, so that's how it all started.
Okay, nice.
I could only get the JDM parts every once in a while, so we start selling a K&N and a clutch and a whatever.
Yeah.
And so then pretty soon, you're just selling stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, year round. Cool.
Yeah. So that's that. That's all I'm going to say. We maybe do more. If you want to hear more about how I started, listen to another podcast called Downtime with Downstar. Frank Garcia is the owner of Downstar Inc., Dress Up Bolts and Hardware. And I was on his podcast a couple of times, and they were pretty lengthy. But if you want to hear more about me talking not on this podcast, go to the Downtime with Downstar and look up a couple of episodes there where I was in there. Cool. So enough of the origin story. There you go. Connecting that back to... Pause.
Sure. Go ahead.
Hello? You trying to drop off a package? Is that a QR code?
See, Marcus is a nice guy, and he actually uses his business front as a UPS store so that local people can come in and drop off boxes. And he doesn't get anything out of it. He just does it as a service to the community. Pretty nice. So occasionally we have these interruptions. Right. Locking up? Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Should I even do an and we're back? It was quiet. Okay. So connecting it back around, though, to the Black Friday, I actually was reminded on Facebook, the memories or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Take a look at what you used to be doing.
Yeah. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I was shown back a little promo video that I recorded and posted to Facebook. Look at all the teens we've got.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think I had like 12 sets.
Okay.
Which was a lot for me.
At the time, sure.
But now it's like...
Yeah. A whole room.
I've got so many.
Yeah. A pallet or two.
So many compared to that. And I thought, geez, would it be nice not to have that much inventory? But, I'm trying to have at least one of every of the Honda ones, or the more popular ones, just so that we have them.
Yeah, so your customers aren't having to wait a super long time.
Yeah, of course. And actually, our website now has the capability, it shows our inventory.
Oh, nice.
Like, if we have it in stock, it'll show it.
Good.
Well, I'm coming to find more and more that when you say that it's not in stock, then you don't sell it as much.
That's true. That's true.
So we want to wholeheartedly say, oh, yes, this is in stock. Go ahead and purchase it. And,
That means you have to have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, got you.
So, the Black Friday.
Go
well. We had talked about that I mentioned that I was going to do what I had done prior years, which was pretty successful. And that we were on this new website now, and that it should be even better because we don't have as many like errors and things. Well, come to find out, and I feel like a total idiot, but the one thing that the new website doesn't have the capability of is doing all these kinds of promotions. And I don't really run promotions all year long, so I didn't really realize that.
Like promo codes or what?
I could do promo codes, but on the previous website, what I would do is you could make a promo code and say it's for this brand of product or these brands of product, or it's for this specific product only, or that it's for free shipping on this product or these brands.
You could tag it to correspond with a specific thing.
Yeah, like I could say, like, ATLP, Fastlane Performance, PCI, and Hard Race, use this coupon and you'll get this blanket discount on those items if they're in your shopping cart. Well, this one, the new website, all it allows me to do is a percentage or dollar amount off.
Site-wide.
A minimum dollar amount. Yeah, site-wide. That was it.
Gotcha.
So I could only come up with the one coupon. Now, I said in the previous podcast that more people tend to use the one coupon anyway.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, maybe this won't be so bad. But I still needed to be able to take a little bit more off of this or that product.
Sure.
I had to physically download whole sections of the store, adjust the prices, and then re-upload them again. It took me so long. And so I ended up working a bunch on Thanksgiving Day, fucking again.
Just like you had described.
And I was really trying to avoid that. But I started days ahead of time. But I actually couldn't do it early because I had to physically change a lot of the product prices.
Yeah, yeah. So you could really only do it on the promo period.
Yeah. And
Got you.
And because of the way that it was, outlining it for people and the way that I emailed it out, it just didn't look as attractive.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that.
So then I found out that new iPhone came out.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't even know when this happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so is it a compatibility thing?
So a bunch of the functionality of the website isn't working because on the iPhone 13, some of the buttons aren't working. We've got a fix we're working on right now, but I didn't even find this out until a week after Black Friday. People didn't say anything. So,
well, in the future, I have an iPhone 13.
Do you?
So
God damn it.
let me know, and I can test you.
I need you to use it. Could you sell all your stuff and get Hondas so that you'll just use my website and then say, hey, this isn't working?
This is
because what I get is a message from somebody. If I'm lucky, I'll get a message from somebody saying that they're having trouble.
Yeah, otherwise people will just be like,
They'll just bail and be like, peace, this website sucks. I heard great stuff about Heeltoe, but your website blows. Peace out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is going to resonate with some of the listeners too. I know, okay, guys? I know that we've got some work to do. But the thing is I don't know how much work we have to do until somebody shows me.
Yeah, and explains it.
And, maybe that's bad on me, but, the developers we have, they're all Android people.
Yeah.
And so
that's true.
the Android is not as good at many things, but one thing it's good at is just making a website work, and it doesn't have all this funky alternative code that like Safari and the iPhone has.
Yeah, I've certainly learned, because this is my first iPhone I've ever had. And yeah, and there's a number of things about it. I've been an Android user for over a decade, and there's a number of things about it that I'm just like, excuse me?
Yeah.
What? Like the way that you have to access and use it, very different. It works. You just kind of need to know.
You need
use
to know.
It differently. Yeah.
And if you haven't been using Apple products for the last 20 years,
then God help you.
or even the last 5.
Yeah, I know. Because even in a couple of generations, it can change pretty dramatically. Like my girlfriend's been a lifetime Apple user, and every iteration of the phone, it's like, oh, weird. This menu item is named something different. It's in a different place.
Well, let me tell you, every time they do that shit, my website breaks.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know. Like, I'm not on the news, reel of the new Apple thingy.
Yeah.
I just find out about it through the grapevine, through somebody telling me. So, anyway, I'm really trying to get better with that.
And speak up if you find problems, please.
One at a time, though.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, one at a time. No, actually, no. I do need to know about it. And it's really kind of kicked off this whole crusade that I've become on, which is I can't have this. I can't have people not be able to. If you look at the web analytics, 75% of the purchases, not browsing, not just jerking around, because what I'll do is I won't necessarily buy it on my phone.
Sure.
I'll be on my phone screwing around at night
Yeah,
and
you'll
then
read
find
about
something.
something,
And
yeah.
then later on, like take a dedicated look at their website, get into it. Now I'm going to send you money after I really like everything that you've shown me.
I tend to do that myself.
Well, 75 or so % of actual transactions, money spent, is on a mobile device.
Oh, interesting.
And at least, it varies, but at least half of that is from an iPhone.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
So that means that like somewhere around a third or a little less of all the transactions that happen on my website come from iPhones.
Yeah.
And if those folks are having trouble,
Then a third of your customers.
that's a 30% I'm screwed. So, but enough people can use it and do transact and don't complain. And actually people say they really like our website.
Good.
Like we get a lot of enough positive feedback that I don't know if a slip in a sales record is because of just the market.
Yeah.
Or
Consumer spending.
or if my promotion wasn't good enough, or I don't really know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then when somebody says, "Oh, this function isn't working," and go, "Well, that's a critical function of purchasing something." What the hell?
Yeah. Suddenly you go.
Then I go, "Well, it can't
That
just be
could be
affecting
it.
one person, right? It's
Yeah.
affecting a lot." So this is like a big deal,
Yeah.
and so it's got me on this crusade now where I want to redo the customer-facing side of the website. I don't want to rebrand. I don't want to change the look and the feel necessarily, but the way the menus work, the functionality, the way things are presented, it all needs to be like brought up. I don't think that we're giving a lot of, we're just not giving a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Attention?
We are not honoring
Oh, got you.
the amount of work that I've put into the back end of the thing. And so there are tools and functions and things that you can do on there that you would have no idea because the menuing sucks.
Gotcha.
Or if it does come up, it doesn't click when you click on it with your finger. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's coming, folks. So anyway, Black Friday, we had promotions. It was a big weekend.
Good.
It was not nearly as big as it was last weekend. But the other thing that I noticed is throughout the whole week, I had this pre-free day or the HT DIY day,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and that was way more successful than
Good.
last year's pre-sale,
Good.
right? So in the end, no, we didn't sell as much stuff as we did last year, but we still blew away what we would have done in 2019.
Cool.
So I'm generally happy, but you know, it's given me a new challenge to like launch off of. We need to make better, and you know, this is something that starts feeling a little bit like a mixed bag. Is how much work do I want to put into doing promotions when it's like all that money spent on development to give people discounts doesn't exactly pay us back.
Yeah.
You know, if I just make the website work better, what will that do?
Yeah.
We already have great pricing.
Bread and butter functionality versus sales.
Yeah, so I think what I'm really going to try to do is focus a little bit more on making the whole thing work better. You know, and see what that does, and then you know, grow some promotional capabilities. So when even a big one or a little one or whatever holiday comes around, that we can put our best foot forward, know that the thing works. You know, so if you had attempted shopping on the website during Black Friday and we're having trouble, or even if you have any other troubles with the website, we definitely know that you're not alone, and we do want to fix some of these things.
Did you have another topic? Because I had one.
Well, why don't you go? We'll take turns.
Okay, cool. I saw the new Civic Si dyno numbers from Honda.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of exciting for me. I was
Yeah.
like, damn, that gives me pause for thought, you know, like it's I'm too deep in with my Fiesta now, but but you know, it's like one of those things where I'm looking at it going, wow, 1.5 liters, 220 something horsepower. I get the wheel too. Which,
Well,
wasn't it?
Well, he dynos at Church Auto Testing.
Oh, so is it a hub?
So it's a hub dyno.
Okay, so
it's
a
effectively a flywheel number.
Yeah, a little more optimistic than perhaps, but still quite a good figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 10th gen Civic opened a lot of people's eyes. And I think that the 11th gen has just sort of taken that and evolved it a little bit more.
Yeah. Do you know functionally what's different about the car?
It's from what I can glean, it's the same car, but just an updated version of it. Okay. So if you imagine the EG Civic 92, 95 going to the EK Civic 96 to 2000, they didn't reinvent the wheel there.
Just revisions.
But it is a totally different car, right? So like, obviously the look is very different of those two cars. The engines didn't exactly carry over, but they're based on the same platform of engine. The suspension, it's different. But you know, a lot of things, I'm seeing a lot of companies announcing that 10th gen Civic parts are fitting on the 11th gen, downpipes and things like this.
Yeah.
So it is a different car. I think, you know, the interior is really nice. You know, they've really done, I mean, the 10th gen was good. For an economy car, it was certainly very good. But the 11th gen, it sounds like they've upped it even more.
Yeah.
So,
well, man, that's exciting news, I think, for Honda Civic enthusiasts, because, like, I remember my SI was, like, with bolt-ons, it made, you know, every bolt-on I could throw at the damn thing, it made 220.
Yeah.
And then...
Oh, it was NA.
Yeah. And then with the with the Comptech kit, it made, like, 289, and I had done a whole load of shit to that, too.
Yeah.
And then with the Craftworks kit, it was, like, finally it made, like, 380, something like that at the wheels. And... you know, fast car, but it's like, holy moly. I think with bolt-ons, you could pretty easily expect to reach close to 300 just with a stock.
Oh, yeah.
Stock
well,
SI.
people doing some revised airflow stuff to it and the ethanol mix.
Oh, yeah, like
which,
E30.
Yeah, E40, I think, was the
E40
golden number for the 10th gen, the 1.5.
Got you.
And people are getting, I mean, it's insane that there's a Honda now where your third or fourth modification should be a clutch.
Yeah.
That's like,
where
what?
Smoke the clutch.
Yeah, well, it just won't hold the power. And people are getting like stage 3 and stage 4 clutches just to hold under boost, which to me, that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because...
well, yeah, the Hondas of yore had
Hondas don't do that.
way less torque.
Yeah, the last time they had a 1.5 liter engine in a Civic, it was like 95 horsepower.
Yeah, single overhead cam.
Yeah, single cam. Or like, you know, D15B was like a really neat little engine. VTEC engine, but like 130 horsepower, I think it was.
Yeah.
Well, turbos change everything. And I noticed a really interesting phenomenon when that 10th gen Civic came out, the turbo engine and the tunes and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, these people are going apeshit over the numbers. Oh my God, this tune, it's amazing. This tune. It's like, guys, it's just cranking up the boost. This is what you do with a turbo. You just crank up the boost. Meanwhile, you know, GTIs, ever since the 1.8T,
that's been the thing.
Any European car, like, yeah, it's a night and frickin' day difference when you crank up the boost.
Yeah.
I turboed an old Civic. I had a CRX, 87 CRX with a HKS turbo kit on it, and I could not believe the difference.
Yeah.
The thing is you get all this torque that a Honda doesn't have. So if you've had any other Civic at all, ever in your life, and then you jumped in the 1.5T and then threw a tune on it,
yeah, it feels like a rocket.
Your mind is exploding all over the interior. Your Pulp Fiction, all inside the car. But
poor Marvin.
The reality is, right?
Yeah.
The reality of it is, this is nothing new. It's just new to Honda people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the tune makes a difference. You know, it was VIT, and then it was, you know, two-step performances tune, and now Fearable is all coming in, and, you know, IMW is getting great numbers. Honestly, guys, it's just a tune.
Yeah.
All they did is turn up the boost.
Turn up the boost.
And not trying to belittle what any of these folks have done in terms of making it a reliable tune or whatever.
It's smooth and drivable, too.
But it's a turbo.
Yeah.
That's what turbos do. That's why turbo boost is better.
Yeah. Well, and the miles per gallon that they can deliver too with these direct injection turbocharged engines.
Oh, yeah.
It's bananas.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, that's just to throw back to the Integra and to the discussion, you know, that we had about people being like, what? It doesn't make enough power.
It doesn't make enough power, yeah.
I'm like, we're in a golden age right now where 300 horsepower is within anybody's reach. It doesn't require some giant investment,
I know.
a bunch of engineering, and like taking everything out of
It's
the car.
just so easy.
Yeah, because
It's
like
just so easy.
I remember installing a turbo kit on Jay's car like ages ago, and it was like you had to pull every goddamn thing off the back of that.
It's
engine.
not made for that.
No, yeah,
It's totally not made for it. It's a gigantic engine. And now the 1.5T engine is not small. I
Sure.
mean, on the outside, there is so much bullshit going on.
yeah.
There's a lot going on.
But you don't really need to touch most of it to get that.
No,
kind of
you really
power.
don't. If you're just trying to have a reasonable car, well, let's be honest. If you just want a fun car, you don't really have to do anything to
No.
it because they are fun. But if you are looking for the power, with simple bolt-ons, very simple bolt-ons, and you're there.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And you know, it's not hard to overrun the chassis and the brakes of that
Yeah.
car, or the clutch for that matter.
Yeah.
Like as we mentioned. So
So quit your bitching, you internet nerds.
quit your bitching.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It's
Yeah,
funny.
the Integra is going to be a blast.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't. The Type S, whatever that ends up being, they've got to put the Type R powertrain in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Which means with just some basic stuff, you're going to be seeing close to 400 probably. Which is
Unbelievable.
nuts. You know? I mean,
on
you
a-
think about the investment that it takes to turn an old B18 into a 400 horsepower car.
Oh my God.
You know, it's like that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, guys, and you're
Yeah.
not going to have to do that.
No.
And you're going to have like a 10 speaker system and heated seats and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
like,
climate control,
Yeah.
all the digital gadgets and stuff.
yeah, never
Yeah.
been better.
11th gen SI sounds like a hit.
Definitely.
I have to be honest, I am much less intrigued by the Honda products these days than I am the Acura ones.
Sure.
That's just me. I find myself when a new Civic comes out going, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then just sort
Moving
of
on.
going down and doing more Acura stuff again.
Gotcha.
It's just, maybe that's the demographic I personally am falling into.
Yeah,
That's where
I
my
get
interest.
that.
That's the other early thing about my business was I probably could have grown a lot faster, a lot bigger if I would have invested in what the bulk of people were doing. But as soon as I found out what I liked, I would do what I like. And there's naturally a lot of people out there like me. And so I appeal to them mostly. I don't appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think it's good to find your niche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So
this-
let me touch on this suspension
yeah,
point.
yeah, sure.
What's our battery look like? Oh, we're doing all right. Let's touch on this suspension.
Yeah, how
So
to
there-
pick a suspension, right?
Right. The first thing. Okay, so most of you, how far back do I go with this, Graham?
I don't know.
There's a fundamental standpoint that I like to start
If
everything
you were on
off
the phone
of.
with somebody and you had like 5 to 8 minutes.
Pretend you're the guy.
All right, so
Ring, ring.
I have a what? I have a TLX, and I'm looking to take it to the track occasionally, and
Well, that's not most people.
no, okay.
Okay, all right.
Well,
I'll be the
that's
guy.
me. Okay, you be the guy.
I'll be both guys.
Okay. I'm like, wait, no, I can't tell you how to figure suspension.
All right, so okay, first things first. Okay, I just got done talking about how my market is.
Yeah.
You know, I've just sort of attracted a lot of people that are in the same sort of demographic that I'm in. 99% of people that call me, 95 plus percent. One of the first things out of their mouth is, "I'm not going to the track."
Oh, okay. Okay.
And in my mind, I go, well, "Why not? It's so much fun."
It is. Yeah.
But verbally, I say, "Okay," because it means nothing.
Sure.
Because even if you were going to the track, if as soon as you put that car on the road, you're buying one suspension kit.
True,
Now you
yeah.
can drive with that kit on the track all day long. You can drive your car on the track with a completely stock car
Yeah.
all day long and be totally fine.
And I've seen plenty of people do it.
Putting the track suspension, quote unquote, on your car isn't going to make it necessarily faster at the track.
Sure.
your driving has to demand a higher level of product. The other mods you have on the car have to push you into a different level of product. So when you call me and you tell me that you're not buying parts for a track car, I already know that because you're calling me asking me what suspension you should buy.
Yeah, that's very
People that go to the track,
they've
already tried a few things.
Yeah.
And they kind of know what the next thing is going to be because guess what happens at the track?
Yeah, you learn. You go, oh,
Yeah.
It doesn't rotate how I expect.
And you talk to the other people there, and then that's where you end up.
You would get a phone call from somebody looking for track suspension saying, can you get the spring rate on the rear?
Right. Now, I do get occasionally somebody going, I do want to do some track days. Great. That's cool too. I still bias a little bit more towards a strictly street suspension. I start asking them a couple of questions like, well, how fast are you at the track? Like, how hard do you drive? What kind of tires are you using? Right? What kind of brakes? Do you change your brake pads to go to the track?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, then you don't need a track suspension.
You're biased towards street.
It's going to be a street anyway. So anyway, guess what, guys? If you're not tracking your car, it doesn't necessarily change my recommendation because actually, to be frank, Accord, TL, TSX, there ain't a lot of track options available anyway. The TSX more than anything. But, okay, so you're not going to the track. What else? I want to lower the car. All right, well, that has a range of opinion or preference. How much do you want to lower it? I get people that want not to lower it at all. I get people who want to lower it maybe an inch or two.
Yeah.
Right? And then I've got people that I want to lower it kind of a lot. You know, like I'm looking to really lower
3,
it.
4, 5 inches, something.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So once you determine how much lowering, now I know how to slot you in. If you don't want to lower your car, just get some Conies. Right? Get some Coney Yellows, get some Tane Endura Pro Pluses, and get some more performance-y shocks. Keep your stock springs. Your car won't lower, but it'll have better body control. It'll handle better.
Well, and I'll tell you from personal experience, good tires. Holy moly. Just getting good tires, night and day difference.
Yeah, I don't know as much on the tire angle. I mean, I've only had decent tires. I've never had great tires.
I've bought like some R compounds in the past, you know, like legit, like rock solid racing tires. And I was just like, holy moly. It was night and day on my SI.
Wow.
It was nuts. It was like, I had aftermarket suspension, but it was just so much more stable. But I'm getting off some of it.
No, it's okay. I do want to have the tire conversation, but a different day.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Because tires, I have this whole thing about tires.
Yeah.
So if you're not looking to do any lowering, just get new shocks. Boom, done. Right? Get a sway bar. It'll handle great. It won't be lower. Because some people, you know, where they live, they don't want it lowered.
Yeah, makes sense.
I get it.
Potholes in New Jersey or whatever.
Don't worry about buying coilovers or whatever, right? The inch to 2 inch range, for a lot of my customers, I land right on the Tane Street Advance. Now, also the Tane Flex or many other coilovers, BC Racing, whatever, a lot of these work well. But for most people who aren't looking for a strictly performance suspension, they just want to lower the car, get a little better handling out of it, make it feel a little bit more like they got a performance-y car. You know, frankly, a lot of the cars I deal with, just putting new stock shocks in will make them feel like night and day. We don't need to go to the end of the earth getting a performance suspension when they say, I'd like to feel a little bit firmer tied to the road. I can put something very conservative in your car that will feel amazing.
Yeah.
Tane Street Advance covers that so well, right? They lower right in that 1.5 to 2 inch range. If you can swallow an inch, maybe 1.25 inches on some applications, you can eliminate the tire gap. It'll handle different wheels if you're going to put different wheels. That's a great place to land, a conservative coilover. If you want something more refined, something a little bit more like, well, the Tanes are they're pretty entry level. They're not very refined. And I think we talked about this in the last one too, where Tane doesn't necessarily tune their suspensions to a specific trim level of a car.
Yeah, you had specifically compared Tane versus BC Racing versus like KW or somebody like that. And you had mentioned how like some people actually like measure each individual trim level or
Yeah, they may,
engine
yeah.
option or whatever.
We've got this one
Balance
for
it.
the base TL, this one for the Type S TL, whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. So certain brands, and they tend to be more European brands, get a lot more refined. So if you have an option to get an H&R coilover, a KW coilover, you're going to give up some.
Yeah.
I mean, Olin's
Yeah.
it is probably a level up above again that. That is more of I am going to go to the track,
Yeah.
or I do want a performance suspension. But if I'm still looking for something that's at least middle of the road,
Yeah.
KW is great. Or ST suspensions, which is the same as a KW, but they're just built a little differently.
Gotcha.
The KWs are all stainless steel, which is super nice. The ST suspensions are the same basic thing, but they use a little less exotic material. So anyhow, they're a great place to land too if you want some more refinement. Now you have to forgive the fact that on paper you're going to have a little less, right? You're not going to have adjustable damping with the KW Variant 1. But again, they've already done this for you.
Yeah.
It's built in. They have tuned bump stops versus the Tanes, which are certainly good upgraded bump stops, but they're not as engineered through the end as some of the German ones. So anyway, this is if you're in that middle lowering range. Now we go down the road of how refined, what's your budget, what's important to you. You see, guy, listen, there's no one answer.
No.
Right? If you're in Facebook and you say, what suspension should I get? And a bunch of people start spouting out what they have,
Yeah.
they're not giving you advice.
I do combat with that every single day about cameras. What camera should I buy?
Yeah.
What do you shoot? What's your budget?
Yeah.
How-
Action,
what's
stills,
your- yeah.
product, portrait.
What's your
landscape?
What's your computer? And
Yeah.
then even after you've answered all these like really top level basic questions, there's still a level of what do you prefer?
Well, the funny thing that you say that is, right? And this is true for suspension, brakes, tires. At some point, you just have to try something.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
And I know that
Pull
it's
the trigger and
expensive,
find out.
but
Yeah.
it's expensive. But you're going to have to try a couple different things, right?
Well, and honest to God, too, it's like as you age and as you experience things, your tastes change.
Right.
They just do.
Totally. Which is where, as soon as somebody says they're in the third category of lowering,
Yeah.
I kind of have an idea about who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
No, but some people really do want to lower their car a lot.
Yeah.
It's a show look, whatever, I get it. 3 inches is a lot of lowering on most cars.
Yes.
So some of the older cars that I've dealt with, DA Integras, first and second gen CRXs and third gen Civics, fourth gen Civics, fifth gen Accords, they've got massive tire gap.
Yeah.
Like you need 2.5
Yeah,
inches
you can fit your
just
whole
to.
hand in there,
Yeah, exactly. You need a 2.5 inch lowering just to get it onto the tires, right? But on a TSX and a TL and stuff, that's not that way. If you want to tuck the tire aggressively, you're gonna have to go with a coilover kit that's got full length adjustment, aka on the street, full. What do they call them?
Oh.
Full coilovers.
So
I want full coilovers. Full coilovers
half order
isn't a
with
real
fries on the
term.
side.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not full coilovers. They're full length adjustable, right?
Threaded.
They're the whole body is
Yeah.
threaded. The lower mount is adjustable so that you can make the whole shock assembly shorter. Now,
Longer.
a Tane Street Advance is already shorter than a stock one. It's got the same basic thing that the full length adjustable has. It's just built in, and you can't play with it.
Yeah.
You adjust the height with the spring perch. It's simple. It works great in a certain range, 1.5 inches, 2, maybe a little bit more than 2.
Yeah, and past that, you'd get diminished results.
And after that, you start bottoming the suspension, and it doesn't work as good. So if you want to lower it more, you've got to go with one of these full-length systems. The Tane Flex Z works really well for that. It tends to be on the more comfortable side. So if they want to lower it a lot and they're looking for some comfort, I go Flex Z. If they want to lower it more and they're looking for sort of like a stiffer ride, I'm doing air quotes, a stiff ride, the BC is great for that. Or you could get into the K Sport or the D2 or whatever, and then you start getting like, well, then, we're mincing words. Which one is the better one to get?
Which one do you like the color of the most?
Which one do you like the color of the best is mostly, Or when you did the Facebook poll, which one did people say the most?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because God knows you want to do what everybody else is doing.
Just do what everybody else does. Get BC Racing. I've seen that. Dude, just get BCs.
Yeah.
Bro, just get BCs. Why? Because that's what everybody says to get. And you know what? They cost more than a comparable Tane kit. And, well, I say that, although Tane is supposed to raise their prices January 1st.
Oh, are they?
So we'll see what they...
as of this recording.
Yeah. But anyway, as of this recording, it's still a great option. The Flexis are made in Japan. They are relatively comfortable. A lot of people find that they're too soft or too bouncy. But again, a lot of these folks don't really understand that you need compliance in the suspension in order for it to work well.
Yeah.
So it might feel bouncy or soft to you, and it may not feel like a performance-y suspension, but, you know, with the right driver behind the wheel, it could very well be faster.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you don't feel speed. You can record speed, you can time speed, but you can't feel it really.
Well, this goes back to the original of I'm not going to the track, right? I'm not going to the track over here. That's that camp. Over here, we've got I want it to feel stiff because I like the way that feels.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it feels performance.
It feels like when I turn the wheel, it's more responsive, and it does without any, body motions or whatever.
Dodge those potholes.
They're not using this language. This is what they're trying to say, right? Like, I can dodge my potholes. Yeah. But really, if you push that car hard, it's not going to grip. It's going to slide.
Yeah.
You need the weight transition.
So stiff, it's just going to rotate.
How you want it to ride and handle. Where's that ride handle balance for you, right? And are you looking for performance or are you just looking for sport, right? And this allows us to direct you to, and I cannot go to a specific brand or a specific one. I know I mentioned Tane a lot and BC a lot. They're the most popular ones that we have. But I can't get that specific because for every different car, the third gen Integra guy, the first gen TSX guy, the fourth gen TL guy, you opened with TLX. There's really not a whole lot you can get for a TLX. Like your options become limited then based on the platform.
Of course, yeah.
So
I've run into that a lot with my Fiesta so far.
Yeah.
It's like, well, these companies make parts, and these other companies don't have a damn thing for it. Like, nothing at all, And some of them are brands that you're like, oh, well, I could buy everything for my Subaru from this brand, but they don't do Ford.
Yeah, but they don't do Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some companies do, and but there's just fewer options.
Yeah.
So, speaking of which, before we wrap up, you have the BC Racing coilovers in your Fiesta.
I do, yes.
What do you think? How
Well,
much is it lowered? Like, how do
So
you like?
I left them in their stock format because I'm not really interested in lowering cars. Generally speaking, I'm more interested in just the feeling. But I also have sort of a strange jump-off point with the Fiesta because when I bought it, it had hacksawed springs.
Well,
So
okay, maybe not compared to what it was, but
so for me, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's quite an improvement.
everything's relative, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, I think that they're maybe a smidge bit stiff over like seams in the road and stuff like that, but I've just got them adjusted to the middle stiffness on the top hat adjusters. So I could soften it up a little bit, but so far, it's a rainy season right now.
Oh yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, so I haven't really had a chance to kind of cook it the way that I normally would in the spring or summer. But I've been happy with them so far.
So with the stiff feeling, does it feel like kind of uncomfortable, or like you're crashing over things?
No, well, I mean, like I said, I'm graduating from a suspension that it was like, it literally would set off the impact sensor in my dash cam when I would go over shit in the road. So,
Wow.
So having come from that to this, I'm like, wow, this is perfect. And I don't mind, some stiffness in a car that I'm going to be throwing into corners
Of course.
vigorously. So I'm perfectly happy with them. I'd say I'm kind of, a medium high spirited driver.
Yeah.
I like to do about twice the posted limit in most corners.
Yeah, that's my
yeah,
that's
pretty-
my 35.
Yeah.
70.
70, exactly. Yeah. Just go through and cross that out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am, and I think that they've suited that perfectly. They, of course, I can imagine that you could find a more refined suspension for a car, one that sort of just soaks up the bumps
Well,
and things. But probably not at that price
This
point.
is a small car.
It is.
Lightweight. And while they do tend to be pretty sensitive to small changes, they're also kind of forgiving too.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry all the mass moving around.
Yeah, I weighed it actually on a car scale the other week, and it's about 2,700 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, it's like 500 pounds less than my TSX.
Yeah. So it's been a good choice for me, and
Cool.
especially at that price point, I was happy.
Yeah, so just get BCs, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, honestly, the BCs, they do have a good product. It is real fleshed out. I don't think they're for everybody. Some people really don't like this little bit of firmness.
Well, and sometimes you don't know till you try. It's
And you don't know what to... And honestly, you haven't played with it yet either.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you dial back the rear adjusters, 2-3 clicks, it might round out some of those edges that you've noticed.
Yeah, and I'll get into fine tuning it when I have it back together because currently it's all in pieces. in
Oh,
the
that's
garage.
right, the hoses. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, that's.
Oh,
that's
speaking
its
of which,
whole story.
so-and-so, Boomba Racing got back to me like...
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to buy a manifold spacer, is that right?
Yeah, manifold and throttle body spacer I was looking at.
Right, so when Graham needs stuff, he hits me up
I do.
because he knows that I run Heeltoe Automotive.
I go,
And that's
"Hey,
what you should do
Marcus."
too.
Yes.
If you need any parts, especially for your Honda and Acura, don't be
Yes.
shy. If you don't see it on our website, you can always email, text, whatever. I'm sure I could get it for you, and I promise I won't try to talk you out of it unless it really seems like a bad idea.
Bad fit.
Yeah, and I do talk people out of parts frequently enough. If I've talked you out of a part, leave a comment below.
Tell us what the part was.
Yeah, tell us what the part was.
And how you like it.
Yeah. If I talked you into a part and you're happy with it, comment that too.
Yeah.
But if I talk to you and you're not happy,
Yeah. Just keep it to yourself.
keep it
would
to
you?
yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear your negativity.
No use crying over.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
All right, Graham. Well, thank you for coming by. It's nice to see you again.
Yeah.
It's been a few weeks. I had to put you off because we were really busy for Black Friday,
Yeah.
and Elise coming on board here, like we were hashing shit out, and so. But I think we've reached a point of stability now.
Good.
So hopefully we get back on the regular. All right.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye.